And we'll start the rundown with a modern-day battle over history. At the center is a bill passed in Poland and now pending approval from the president. It would criminalize accusing Poland of any complicity in Nazi crimes, a move that critics call a brazen attempt to rewrite the past and a dangerous path to forgetting one of the darkest chapters of history.
Shortly after the vote, the U.S. State Department came out with a statement saying, "We understand phrases like Polish death camps are inaccurate, misleading, and hurtful, but we are concerned this legislation could undermine free speech and academic discourse. We are also concerned about the repercussions this could have on Poland's strategic interests and relationships, including with the United States and Israel."
The Polish foreign minister doesn't seem to agree with that statement from the State Department, saying, "We believe that this legislation will not affect the strategic partnership between Poland and the United States." And from Israeli officials, a wave of reactions today, these from opposition lawmaker Yair Lapid and Minister Israel Katz.
I see with gravity the Holocaust law legalized by the Poles. I see it as an attempt to deny their responsibility to everything that has happened to Jews in Poland during the Holocaust. This morning, I requested the Prime Minister to immediately order, as a Prime Minister and a Foreign Minister, the return of the Israeli ambassador to Poland for consultations.
No bill can rewrite history. Poles were accomplices to the Holocaust. Poles snitched on Jews, Poles participated in the Nazi killing machine. And trying to write a bill now that says otherwise is just an example to the fact that anti-Semitism today lives and burns within modern Poland. And we're going to object to it in any way possible.
Earlier, we spoke with a parliament member from the Polish opposition, Rafał Trzaskowski, whose Civic Platform Party opposes the bill in its present form, but he says some Israeli politicians are making the situation worse through their comments. Let's listen.
Unfortunately, this debate has been just simplified to, are you for going after those who use Polish death camps, or are you against? And also, when we look at the reactions from Israel, I mean, there are some who send a very sophisticated message, who know the topic, and who make that differentiation. I've seen some Israeli politicians who simply say, yes, it's true, there were Polish death camps. And then obviously the reaction from Poland, from everywhere, from the opposition as well, is, I mean, now you are obviously not telling the truth, and we disagree with such statements.
Well, joining us now in studio is our diplomatic correspondent, Mike Wagenheim. Mike, certainly this is even a personal issue for some Israeli politicians who have parents who are Holocaust survivors, for example. Does that Polish parliament representative have some kind of point there that maybe some of the Israeli politicians are getting a little overheated about the issue and maybe making it harder for people like him?
No. First off, he mentioned the Polish death camps. That is, I think, the one issue that Israelis have said, you know what? Polish death camps is a misnomer. It shouldn't be used. It is wrong to use that. The Germans built the death camps. The Germans ran the death camps. Israeli politicians have made that quite clear. We have no problem with that. It's the rest of the bill to eliminate any mention of Polish involvement in the Holocaust that is really driving the anger on the Israeli side. I think the gentleman from Poland has it wrong. I don't think the Israeli problem is with the Polish death camps. And this is the one issue. This is not a trade deal. This is not a budget bill. This is the one issue that unites every Jewish Israeli, is the Holocaust. Everybody has a tie in one way or another to the Holocaust. So I don't think an Israeli politician worth his salt is just going to sit back and wait for this bill to pass and then raise heck afterward. It has to be done now.
From what you've seen from the Israeli government so far, how far do you think they're going to take it to try to make their case heard in Poland?
Well, this is a tough one for the Israeli government. Benjamin Netanyahu has put a lot of political capital into building relationships in Europe, especially with Central European countries that are right-wing, and some of those have been controversial partnerships. Right-wing governments that have some anti-Semitic roots or still court anti-Semites within the party, and this Polish party, the Law and Justice Party, has been accused of just doing that, of turning a blind eye to a renewal of anti-Semitism in Poland. This is really putting Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu in a bind. The foreign ministry, which Netanyahu technically runs, released a tweet today, and Deputy Minister for Diplomacy, Michael Oren, called it tepid. He wants to see more action, and remember, that's Netanyahu's own deputy minister. So this is really putting Netanyahu in a bind. It'll be interesting to see how far he takes this and tries to keep his partnership relationship with Poland intact.
All right, Mike Wagenheim, thanks for being with us.